NBA insider Shams the Athletic came out today and said the Toronto Raptors are currently taking calls on OG Anunoby. So we'll discuss that as well as a bunch of Raptors news that he reported on. Additionally, OG Anunoby spoke out himself on the rumors and reports that he's currently disgruntled with his situation in Toronto. So we'll take a look at his quote. So the Toronto Raptors played last night against the Phoenix Suns on their West Coast road trip, had a wild game and a viral video also surfaced from that one, so we'll take a look at that and a whole bunch more in this video. So without further ado, let's jump on the first topic of discussion. The first thing we're taking a look at is the Raptors taking calls on OG Anunoby, per Shams of The Athletic. Now, this one's pretty interesting, as obviously OG Anunoby is one of our most interesting trade assets heading into this year's deadline, as there's rumors galore. There's reports coming out from pretty well anyone with half an ear inside the NBA regarding a potential OG Anunoby deal, potentially him being disgruntled, what teams are offering, and all that sort of stuff. And we've been covering it all, especially over the last few days. But Shams is a guy that, him and Woj are two reporters that you can really trust when the information is coming out regarding all the sort of smoke that's going around the NBA trade deadline. And Shams dropped an article yesterday saying that the Suns and the Knicks were interested in OG Anunoby. A deal could potentially go down, but he doubled it up today, repeating that sort of fact, but also broke down in his FanDuel TV segment that regarding the Knicks and stuff. But in this segment, he basically says that the Toronto Raptors are, quote, taking calls on OG Anunoby. So that's pretty interesting, as rarely do we see so many leaks from the Toronto Raptors. Yes, there's always consistently people speculating, people hearing the back chatter about potential deals that could go down. But the stuff that's, leaking to Woj, that's leaking to Shams, rarely does this stuff come out. So hearing that the Toronto Raptors are taking calls, right, is pretty serious, given how tight-lipped our organization usually is at giving information to guys like Shams and Woj. I mean, Nick Nurse's contract wasn't even revealed to these guys for a very long time. The signings, the free agencies, the package that Kyle Lowry, we ended up acquiring for that Kyle Lowry trade, right? That wasn't revealed initially to either Woj or Shams. So when this news is coming out, and you can trust that Shams at least isn't reporting fake news, right? Stuff that isn't coming out of nowhere, right? He wants to have it verified somewhat, right? Then that means there's some definite smoke to where the Toronto Raptors are coming from. And yes, we know that the Knicks and the Suns are interested, and that probably could come from their side. But for him to say the Toronto Raptors are taking calls means a little bit more to me than all the reports that have been going on about a potential OG Anunoby deal going down. Now, a lot of Raptors fans, especially people that don't want OG Anunoby traded like myself, right? I'm a big fan of this game. It would need to be a haul in order for me to be satisfied, but I'd still be sad if he ends up letting go. I'm saying, people are trying to leak stuff to the media, leak stuff to the news, and trying to get our players on the cheap. And, Josh Lundberg's coming out and saying that this deal definitely doesn't mean it's imminent, given the source saying, to clarify, the Raptors have been taking calls on OG Anunoby and several other players for months. So that's not new and doesn't mean anything is imminent. There's a difference between listening to offers, which of course they're going to do, and actively shopping a player. The good thing about having coveted players and everybody identifying them as a team that could be attractive is they haven't had to make many calls. Teams are coming to them, and no shortage of options to mull over the next 10 days. Don't expect them to make a decision until they have to. So Josh Lundberg's essentially saying that this does not mean the Toronto Raptors are actively shopping OG Anunoby. They're not shopping their star 3-and-D wing player. But, the Raptors have been taking calls. They've been doing it for a long time. And while I don't think Shams would just sort of say, hey, they're taking calls out of nowhere because, in theory, every NBA GM is taking calls, right? He could make that about anything, get a headline, get a reaction and stuff. I think it's a little bit deeper than Josh Lundberg is sort of putting it, but he's also saying, hey, the Raptors are getting a lot of calls given all the situations going on. So he's not furthering or denying that a potential trade could go down. So it's pretty interesting to see what could potentially happen there. I don't know. With all the OG Anunoby smoke going on, I'd be shocked if we don't hear more, at least serious reports going down over the next couple days. And we have more reports coming out in today, as OG Anunoby spoke out on the whole situation of going on, not explicitly the trade rumors, but the reports that have come out from Bob McCowan as well as Rick Bucher that he's disgruntled there in Toronto. And Michael Grange sort of facilitated this, coming from a Sportsnet Michael Grange article where he interviewed OG Anunoby specifically, and we'll just take a look at what OG Anunoby had to say about the whole situation. Michael Grange basically said, if there's anything to the rumors that he wants out of the Toronto, and he said, no, it is what it is. So he's saying there's no truth to it. Is he happy with his role with the Raptors offense? Just trying to get better every day. Some games you get a bigger role, and it's some for everyone, and it changes. It's the same for everyone. It changes game to game. And then he was asked if it bothered him that his name was featuring fairly prominently in trade rumors leading up to the deadline. OG said, no, it doesn't bother me. What can I do about it? I didn't tell anyone to do that story or say whatever. It's not my choice for whatever is going on. It's going to be going on. I can't control it, so what's the point of being mad about it? And then he said, we then digress into a discussion about the minimalist approach to social media. So OG is basically saying that he has friends and he has their phone numbers, so he doesn't need to have social media. But, while OG Anunoby's not paying attention to the rumors and stuff, it doesn't seem like the wanting out reports that I was skeptical on, right? I've continued to say more of rumors. Our comment section seemed to be more in favor that he definitely wants out, and it makes sense given the amount of smoke that's been pushed out regarding that over the past couple of years. All the Reddit detectives sort of picking things up. For people that aren't familiar, Bob McCowan as well as Rick Bucher basically reported that OG wants out this summer. There's reports that he was not happy with his role in the offense. It was kind of, Nick Nurse sort of validated that earlier in the season with a couple post-game pressers saying that if OG wants a bigger role, he's going to have to do this, he's going to have to do that. So there's a lot of smoke to it, but OG's kind of denying it. And while I think, the reports that he completely wants out, that he's going to sit out, he's going to be a young socialite Ben Simmons and try to do that, are completely false. I don't think that there's any risk OG won't play or anything like that. I wouldn't be surprised if there is some disgruntlement. And, the Chris Haynes report coming out saying that a lot of Raptors aren't happy with their, how the seasons have gone with what's happening currently in Toronto. Kind of makes sense. I wouldn't be surprised if OG's a part of that. But let me know what you guys think. I'm just reporting all the news, trying to aggregate it all, put it all together as best as I can so you guys can digest it. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And, if you guys want to bet on this Toronto Raptors team, because they've had some pretty interesting games on this Western Conference road trip, as well as, the trade deadlines and stuff coming up, definitely check out the CoolBet Sportsbook. They're a sportsbook that you can, they're regulated in Ontario. They're available all across Canada. And, you can bet on anything regarding the Toronto Raptors, NBA, and just sports in general. And they have an interesting bet that's been going out there right now regarding LeBron James potentially setting that scoring record. You can literally bet on basically anything regarding this LeBron James game. Will it be assisted? What quarter will it be in? What team it will be against or whatever. It's pretty wild. Pretty wild. So I don't know. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this LeBron James bet. You can definitely check out CoolBet. They always got a lot of fun stuff going out there on the application. So, shout out to CoolBet for supporting the podcast. But next thing we're taking a look at is, as I just regarded, the Toronto Raptors have had some wild games on this Western Conference road trip, and once again, they fall short. They're 2-2 on this road trip, so this hasn't been absolutely brutal, but once again this season, they have their moments in a game, they aren't able to put it together. The Suns were kind of up early. The third quarter, the Toronto Raptors looked really good. They were putting everything together, went on a massive run, but couldn't get the job done down there in Phoenix. So this road trip that the entire NBA is looking at, seeing how the Toronto Raptors are going to do, right? 2-2, kind of the worst sort of situation for the Raptors. You're winning enough games so it's not completely clear that you should retool and completely sell off a couple guys, but you haven't been winning enough to where it's clear that this team is going to turn things around. And you look at the box score on this one. Let's get the box score up there, right? Siakam was all right. Again, took a few shots and didn't look too hot in this game. Didn't facilitate either as greatly as a lot of people would hope. Fred had 24, Gary had 21. Precious once again in the starting lineup, 11 and 12. That 5 of 9 shooting from the field, no 3-point shots. Propaganda still running strong though on this channel, but Scottie Barnes is could have been a bit more aggressive, but again is putting up solid stats. 16 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. And the one encouraging thing about the games as of late, is that Scottie Barnes has been really good. So that's a huge positive. That's a huge plus. I won't dive into the nitty gritty into this game, but I will dive into a little video that's making its way around online. As I said earlier, Shams basically indicated that Phoenix Suns are really interested in OG Anunoby, and that's why a lot of people were shocked, or have a lot of people been turning their heads at this video that's been going around of Masai Ujiri, as well as President of Basketball Operations for the Phoenix Suns, James Jones, going in there walking in the tunnel together. They had a little walk, they had a little stroll and stuff. I'll play it up there again. Masai Ujiri's waving people around the stadium and stuff, but who knows what they're talking about? Are we going to see a deal made today with the Phoenix Suns? People are saying that after that tunnel meeting had gone down, the Shams report out today, the Phoenix Suns are definitely offering us a bunch of first-round picks for OG. Who really knows what deals could potentially be going down? Obviously, the Suns have guys like Ayton, they have guys like Cam Johnson, they have all their first-round picks going forward, so we'll see if a move could be made, because that team definitely wants to win. I'll make a whole video on the Suns on Courtside Digest today. But yeah, let me know what deals you think could be happening on that front. And I have a little OG Anunoby rumor for the next topic of discussion, as rival NBA executives speculate that OG Anunoby could go to the Grizzlies. Now, this one doesn't have a lot of meat to it as a Shams report would, so I'll just quickly touch on it. But basically saying that this comes from Michael Scottie, saying that there's been some speculation from a few rival executives that the Memphis Grizzlies could make a run at OG Anunoby, given their surplus of draft picks in the years to come. So Bruce Arthur also reported that a team has offered the Toronto Raptors 3 first-round picks. And while a lot of people are speculating that that's the New York Knicks, Mike Scottie saying that it could definitely be the Memphis Grizzlies. So keep an eye out on them for a potential OG Anunoby deal. But the final thing I'm taking a look at in this vid is Scottie Barnes making the Rising Stars game. So, the Rising Stars game is always a bit of fun. There's no doubts in my mind that the reigning Rookie of the Year, he's been playing extremely well as of late, would be making it, but we got a list of some guys making this team, and did not get added. Well, Scottie Barnes made it. A couple Canadians made it as well. Andrew Nembhard as well as Benedict Mathurin. So that's exciting to see some Canadian talent down there making the rosters. And no Christian Koloko. No Christian Koloko, which is unfortunate. Obviously, hasn't been getting a lot of run as of late. Maybe would have made it if he was getting a few more consistent minutes, if he continued to get those opportunities he had at the beginning of the season. But congrats to Scottie Barnes. Congrats on the Canadians making the roster. But folks, you guys are the best to make this far. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Appreciate you all. Had to hiccup there at the end. You guys are the best. I'm signing out. Cheers.